Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me. My name is Carrie Dahle, and I am your host. I am an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, manifester, and motivator. And I am on a mission to empower you to create the life of your dreams. If you are looking to up-level your life, relationships, finances, productivity, and success, you have come to the right place. I will share with you tools, resources, strategies, my failures, and my successes that have all helped me achieve the life of my dreams. It is my goal with this podcast to help you see your potential and empower you to create the life of your dreams. So let's get to it. Welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I'm Carrie Dahle, your host. And today I thought we'd do something a little different. I thought that I would share a life update because there's been so much going on and so many different things happening that I just don't know how to put it into separate podcasts because either they be really small or be a lot of rambling. So I thought we'd combine it all in once and that it might inspire you, it might motivate you, it might bring up some emotion and reminders to all of us of things that we need to do, things we need to pursue, things we should be letting go of. So we're going to talk all the stuff. As I'm sure many of you noticed, last week there was no new podcast. And that was because I was in New York and hadn't planned far enough ahead. But I was in New York for the book project that I'm working on, that I'm collaborating on and writing a chapter for, which I am super, super excited about. I hope you guys have seen my Instagram posts with a new cover, and it's just going to be super exciting. But I want to tell you a little bit about my experience there. I went to this writer's retreat expecting, I don't know what I expected, but what I received and what I experienced there was totally different than what I anticipated. Yes, I did a ton of writing. I actually wrote most of my chapter. I'm still working on some final touches of it, but I was able to bang that out and that just poured out of me. But it poured out of me because of the environment, right? The environment definitely encouraged it. This retreat was a combination of two author groups. It was a combination of the business book, which also is a different take on business. It's definitely a much, you'll find out. It's a different level of entrepreneurship, a different level of business than I think we've seen before. And I'm super excited about that. And the other group was they're brave healers, and they're writing a separate book right now, both of which are coming out in October. And so many of these brave healers were instrumental in hosting the weekend. Laura DeFranco was the ultimate host, but she brought a team of amazing people to curate these experiences that just make you go deeper inside of yourself and find things in yourself that you didn't know were there. So there was breathwork, and there was yoga and just different daily experiences that touched different pieces of my soul that I needed a reminder about. And the biggest thing that came out of that experience for me was really recognizing that my whole story is important, not just the pieces that I tend to share. There's a whole lot of me that I guard and I protect and I don't put out into the world. And while the story is absolutely true, there are pieces that if I open that door and if I would share them, I may actually reach a whole different level with you guys. Like there'd be a different authenticity to the conversation. There'd be a different ability to relate with me, right? Because it was really funny. So I wrote out the first part of my chapter, which is the story. And that's actually a combination of a few stories in my life. And then I had a new friend, which I hope to have her on the podcast here in coming months, Colleen. I asked her if she would read it and give me some feedback. And it was really interesting because she noticed the gaps. She noticed where it didn't quite flow together right. And she commented on how it felt like I needed to have some internal dialogue, that I needed to share my thoughts because there was like a jump from one thing to the next thing without really true explanation. And I hadn't quite put that all together. Like I hadn't put this whole idea together of, oh, I'm not sharing myself. But then this past week was the full moon. And you all know how I love a full moon dinner and a full moon release and letting go of something. And I really had no idea this week what I was going to let go of. I was sitting down with my girlfriends. We were having wine and a beautiful dinner and just a fantastic time. And we started going around the table with the things we're going to release. And I didn't know. Like I didn't know until I knew. And the thing that came out of my mouth was that I was going to release this ideology of perfection. What do I mean by that, right? What do I mean by that? I have created this self-imposed idea of perfection, right? I have created this image that I like to live in. And we all do that. We all create this space for ourselves, this safe space, this persona that we're going to put out. And I have done this my entire life. I've protected my heart. I've protected my life. I've protected those around me by sharing what I want to share and keeping the rest to myself. And in doing that, there have been many times throughout my life that people had no idea what was happening and no idea what I was experiencing. I mean, a great example of that is I was so quiet in my first marriage about how bad it was. And I'm not going to go into that today. You can read about some of that when you get my chapter. I'll share more about that another day. And I think I'm still somewhat guarded about it because I don't want to sound accusatory or hurt anybody. But at the same time, I was hiding all these things. Hiding, I guess is a great word. But I was keeping it to myself, not because I wanted to protect that marriage, or not that I wanted to protect my ex and that, but I was keeping it to myself because I wanted to protect myself. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I couldn't believe that I was living a life that I had chosen, and I couldn't believe this is the life I had chosen. I couldn't believe that I had veered so far from all of my wants and dreams and things that I was living in this space, and this space was unhealthy, and it was rough. Yeah, it was rough. But I don't share that story, right? And I didn't share it then because I was protecting myself. And so when we got divorced, or when we were going through all of that, it was this massive shock to everyone around us. I mean, I lost friends over it. I lost family for a time being. There was a lot of controversy around that time. And it was because I hadn't been sharing all along. I had been protecting it. So no one knew the struggles. No one knew the mental abuse. No one knew the things that were happening. And when I finally broke from all of that, when I finally had to say no more, it was this massive shock, right? They had no clue. And then that was a whole new battle, right? That was a whole new, well, now, I've been sharing the stories all along, but I've been leaving the gaps. And so now people don't understand. They don't understand why I had to make the decision I did. They think it's a one-time event. They think it's a moment in time and they can fix it. Like they can fix their friend and their couple. And if they had known the entire time, they would have thought differently. Anyways, this was not a story about my divorce or my previous marriage. This is a story about how I'm now recognizing that I do this, and I want to be more transparent, and I want to be more real. I don't want to protect those things. I don't want to protect what I find as failures or things that I did wrong. I want to be real. And in order to be real, I have to not be so worried about being perfect. So I don't know about the rest of you, but for those of us who strive for perfection, who want to be this idea of the perfect wife, the perfect home keeper, the perfect employee, the imperfect author, all the things. I can think of a million things that I want to be perfect at. And funny because I won't do something unless I think I can do it well. And again, how stupid is that? Why not just try new things? The failures are what make us stronger. I don't want to go through life and say I didn't try something because I was too scared to do it or I was afraid of failing. I want to be able to look back on my life and be like, yeah, I did this, I did that, I did these things. And you know what? I did some of it well and I did some of it not so well. And I really sucked at other parts of it, but that's okay. I tried. I really tried. So yeah, that's my combination of writer's retreat and full moon update for you all. And I hope that my recognition of this helps somebody else out there, helps you realize that you don't have to be perfect either. And it's okay to tell the whole story because really it will help somebody else. I believe that in my heart. And I believe that the more I am unguarded, the more y'all are going to get out of this and the more I'm going to get out of it. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in the next coming months. The next thing I want to discuss is controlling what you can control and understanding that we can't control everything. So our family, while I was away, an event happened, and I'm going to have to be really vague about this. And I understand that I completely was just talking about full transparency, and I'm going to be fully transparent about how I feel and about some aspects of this, but I cannot, out of privacy for my family and the members that are directly involved, I can't share what has or is happening right now. And we'll see what comes about of it. But what I can say is that while I was away, an event took place and it rocked our worlds. And after being okay with the fact that no one is hurt, everyone's alive, and that's good and that's great, then all the emotion starts, right? All the emotion of what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What could I have done different? All the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. All the wanting to go back and change and wanting to go back and control things, right? Which I can't. I can't control the past. All I can control is myself in the future. And one of the biggest things that I am upset about is I am really angry at myself. I'm also really angry at this person, but I'm really mostly I'm angry at myself. And I'm angry at the fact that I knew things. It was not 100%, but my gut said this is what it was. Everything that made sense to me wasn't what was being presented to me. And I didn't speak up. I didn't speak up for a multitude of reasons. And I can't go back now, right? I can't go back and change it. However, I can move forward with making sure that I don't do that again. I can move forward with confronting situations in the moment every single time. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's a hard decision because there are reasons behind me not doing that in the past. There are relationships that take a lot of work, right? And back to that whole thing about not being perfect. Well, in these relationships, I want perfection, and I know that's not possible. So for me, that means being who I am, calling it as I see it, not allowing for lies and deceit and distraction, and risking whatever it is to make sure that these situations don't happen again. That's tough, right? It's super tough, but I have to control what I can control in that. I can't control the actions of others, but I can control the actions of myself. I can't control the response from others, but I can control speaking up and saying what's important in a moment. So that's a big thing, right? It's a struggle I think many of us go through. It's a struggle that circles back to that whole perfection thing. And we all, any of us that have that problem, that have that need, I think need to recognize that it's not serving us. It's not serving us in the way we want it to. Sure, it protects some aspects of our lives, but it doesn't protect everything. So I just want to encourage you to really look at your life and look at the things that you are working so hard to control. And are they things that you can actually control, or are they out of your control? Because if they are out of your control, let it go. Let it go. You cannot make somebody feel a certain way. You cannot make somebody want something. You cannot change someone else. All you can do is control how you respond, how you react, how you feel. So really, really think about that when you find yourself wanting to control a situation, and ask yourself, what can I control? Because in reality, you can only control yourself. All right. Another thing that kind of ties into all this is trusting your intuition. I've always trusted my gut, right? That is something that I have lived my life doing. And there are times that I really hold on to that and really hold firm in that. And then there are other times that I have let that not be my guiding star, my guiding light. And between the book retreat and the crazy events and just life in general, I've been reminded how powerful and how important my intuition is. I know that not everyone has that ability, or that's not necessarily your strength. But if you are an intuitive person, if you do get those gut feelings, and when you listen to them, you're right. And when you don't listen to them, you realize, damn, I was right. I should have listened. Well, I just want to encourage you to really hold on to that and really trust yourself and stop doubting your ability to feel and know things, because there is great value in that. There is value to yourself and there is value to others. So I'm not telling you to immediately react, because maybe that's not your process. And really, I don't like to immediately react. I do like to listen to it. I do like to think on it. If there's urgency in the situation, I don't want to delay, but I also don't want to be reactive until I've processed. However, not shoving that feeling away, right? Not pushing it aside because it doesn't go along with what everyone else says or thinks is not a reason to not trust your gut, is not a reason to not trust your intuition. And this falls into something we talk about all the time: listening to the universe, listening to the signs that are right in front of you and paying attention, right? So pay attention to yourself, pay attention to the signs, to the things that we go, oh, that kind of goes along with what we were talking about yesterday. That doesn't feel great. That just doesn't sound right. Like, paying attention to those things is really important, because when you get outside of that headspace and trust what you're feeling, and when you pay attention to the universe and everything it's bringing your way, well, there's magic in that. There is solutions. There is future decisions. There is excitement. There's so much that can come out of it. So pay attention and listen to your intuition. All right, one final update, and that is on my commitment to run my favorite race this summer. So I have to be totally honest. I have not stuck to that commitment, which is disappointing, right? It's disappointing. I have allowed the weather and travel and other things to get in the way of me training regularly. I have done some running, but not nearly what I need to be doing to do that race. And at this point, I'm questioning whether it'll happen. And I may dig in, and I may now that the weather has gotten beautiful, find my way to it. It won't be beautiful or as fast as I'd like, but I might get there. Or I might cave and do the smaller portion of the race, which I have done many times because it was of lack of being prepared, excuse me. But yeah, I think I should just be honest with you all about that. You cheer me on, you root me on, and I do the same for you guys. And this is one of those times I'm not succeeding. I've made choices and daily decisions that haven't supported that. So I have to ask myself, do I really want it? Do I really want that thing? And I may or may not. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to be patient and kind with myself and forgiving. And I'm also going to allow for that event to not be perfect, meaning it's okay if I still run it and I walk part of it. It's okay if my time is nowhere near what I intended it to be. It's okay if I decide to run the shorter version. It's okay. It's all okay, right? And instead of making this burden, I'm just going to work on enjoying. I'm going to work on looking at my day, looking outside and thinking, God, I need to get outside and hit the trail for a little bit because it makes me feel good. Or I need to get outside, but you know what? I'm in the mood for a bike ride, which today, by the way, is the most gorgeous day I think we've had since spring has arrived. It is going to be, 78 today. The sun is shining. There's just a little light breeze. My garden is blooming and gorgeous. The flowers are amazing. So I'm going to go outside here in a couple of minutes. I'm going to water my plants. I'm going to work on wrapping up the final details to my chapter of my book. And I'm not going on a run because I'm in the mood to ride my bike. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say that's okay. I'm going to not get down on myself about it. I'm just going to say, this is what I'm doing. I'm enjoying the day. I'm getting outside. So you too need to do that. You need to be forgiving and allowing your plans to change and allowing yourself to not be so bogged down by the rules and again, perfection that you've set for yourself. And instead, be flexible, find joy, find forgiveness for yourself. Yeah. And allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to not be perfect. All right. I hope that you all got something out of today. I hope you're not sitting there going, oh my God, she just babbled on and on and on. Because I really do feel that all of those things are really important. And I feel that someone out there needed to hear it. So please like and share and let me know if it if it helped you, because the more I can help you by sharing my stories, well, the more that feeds this purpose, because I want us all to thrive in life. I want us all to have the life that we dream of. And that involves not being perfect, making mistakes, failing, and getting back up and going. So I hope you have a great week. And above all else, remember that I believe in you and you can manifest the life of your dreams.